Two bombshell reports on Benghazi this week revealing not only did the White House know that this was terror from day one, despite what they said thereafter, but that the State Department under Hillary Clinton's leadership failed to prevent what the Senate called, quote, an avoidable attack. The Republicans went beyond just blaming the State Department, however, and specifically, this part was not joined by the Democrats in the report, specifically called out Secretary Clinton, saying, quote, at the end of the day, she was responsible for ensuring the safety of all Americans serving in our diplomatic facilities. Her failure to do so clearly made a difference in the lives of the 4 murdered Americans and their families, end quote. So what does all this mean for her possible presidential run in 2016? Karl Rove joins me in just moments. He's here. But first, we begin with California Democrat Karen Bass. She's on the House Foreign Affairs Committee and is a supporter of Mrs. Clinton's. Congresswoman, good to see you. And so,
thank you.
I know the Democrats didn't join in that statement, but what about that statement is wrong? Why is it not correct that her failure to act made a difference in these 4 Americans living or dying?
Well, let me just say that, first of all, I sat in Foreign Affairs Committee hearings where Secretary Clinton said, without hesitation, that she was the Secretary of State and that she takes responsibility. But I just have to tell you that when I was reading the report today, my hearts go out for the families, because every time we have a new development in this case, I know they have to relive the tragedy. And when I read the blow-by-blow account of what happened, you know, heroic efforts were made to save the ambassador and the other individuals, and it was really sad that happened.
There's no dispute about the heroes who tried to save them, but there's plenty of dispute about what should have been done to prevent them from coming under fire in the first place. And because I look at this report from the Senate Intel Committee, right, chaired by Dianne Feinstein, a Democrat, who, by the way, says she doesn't like it getting political and doesn't agree with the Republicans that it's Mrs. Clinton's fault. But I read this statement and I wonder why there wasn't bipartisan agreement on it. This one that reads, at the end of the day, Mrs. Clinton was responsible for ensuring the safety of all Americans serving in our diplomatic facilities. Her failure to do so clearly made a difference. Why is that not true?
Well, let me just say one thing. The report points out many, many, many examples of problems that took place and also lays out a number of recommendations. And so, for example, Secretary Clinton, in charge of the State Department, you have a staff, you have 70,000 employees, over 300 departments. There is no evidence in the report that the requests for security or the security situation went up the chain of command and that she was even aware of it.
Okay, so before I let you go, let me just ask you this question, because we got to get Karl on too.
Sure.
Because you know what's going to happen in 2016 if she runs. People are going to say, there's nothing tying Bridgegate to Chris Christie, and there's nothing tying Benghazi to Hillary Clinton. So what's your view on Chris Christie then? Do you see this as different?
Well, no, let me just tell you, on this report, I think what's most important are the recommendations.
No, but you're dodging my question.
So what do you want me to ask?
So do you give Chris Christie a pass, since that scandal's not been tied to him directly, the same as you give Hillary Clinton a pass?
Let me just tell you something. First of all, Secretary Clinton said she was responsible. In terms of Chris Christie, wait a second, you were talking about something that just started. I have no idea if he's responsible. Let this investigation go forward.
But as of today, you say it's not on him because it's just been tied to staff.
No, I have no idea. The Chris Christie situation is just beginning. Let's see what happens. I'm not going to tie it to him right now. I don't know.
Karen Bass, thanks for being here, ma'am. It's a pleasure.
You're welcome.